Hi, I'm Seven Sentinel, and welcome back to my series of videos where I teach you how to make maps for Sonic Robo Blast 2. Today, I'm going to give you the master class on slopes. Everything you ever needed to know about slopes, except what I've already covered on previous videos. I'm going to have a card up in the corner somewhere with the video in question where I go over basic slopes, and then you can come back to this and get all the rest of the details. So, as usual, I prepared a little bit of geometry. Let's actually go into wireframe mode so we can see everything a little bit better. Oh, before I get started, lots of people ask me about keyboard shortcuts. So, let's see, what is it? Preferences? Controls? Yeah, okay, so if you go into Tools, Preferences, Controls, all of your keyboard shortcuts are here. Maybe I'll go through everything, or at least like some of the most important stuff in a different video, but like for now, just check this out. I'm sure there's something in there that'll help you. But yeah, let's check out vertex slopes. So here's our geometry. We turn the highlight off. We got just a couple little platforms, nothing really going on. Some sectors here that will eventually get turned into slopes over the course of this video. So yeah, let's do vertex slopes. Really not hard. So that's gonna be either 704 or 714 for floor, or 705 or 715 for ceiling. These, of course, can be found under the slope section of the Edit Action menu. They're very helpful. But I'm going to do slope front side floor by three tagged vertex things. So we're going to make that tag, oh, I don't know. What have we not used yet? What all have we used? Let's just do like, let's just do 20. That'll be fine. Okay, so we have our line def. Now we need to place 3 slope vertices, or excuse me, vertices. So if we just search through here for vertex, we'll find slope vertex. So the way that you're going to tag this line def to this vertex is you're gonna use the angle, which here is labeled tag. Very helpful. So we're gonna go ahead and do that as 20. We're gonna hold shift, right click to clone that, and do that a couple more times until we have a nice little sort of triangle, 3 different things here. And put these wherever you want, it just depends on what exactly you're going for. So there's 2 ways we can go about this. We can put them inside the sector, or we can put them outside. I'm gonna show you first what happens when we put them inside. So let's see, yeah, those are all tag 20. So if we have them inside the sector, and by the way, we can turn off the hitboxes for these or go through the states here by pressing T. Where, like on default, it shows the hitbox and the sprite. You press T once, all your things are gone. You press T again, you get the sprites but no hitboxes. And if this, of course, applies to every single object that you place. I like to keep the hitboxes there, though, because, I'm pointing at the sprite right now, and yet I'm not pointed at the object, and now I'm pointing at it. So I always keep the hitboxes enabled. So yeah, you can go through, right-click this, or scroll up and down, and that'll be a little bit buggy, but you just go up and down on your thing here, and it'll update. Or if we do that, and we go back in the editor, it fixes itself. It's a little bit buggy, but it'll look fine in game. And then, of course, you can use your scroll wheel to do that. So the advantage of doing your vertices like this is that you can take the entire thing up and down. Whereas if, for example, we place these here and here and here, now it's being sloped according to where those are in other parts of the map. You got to remember, the height here, or excuse me, the height here, rather, is not an absolute height. Rather, it's how far off the ground it is. So if we do absolute height, now it's 168. So I'm going to go ahead and put these back by pressing Ctrl-Z, of course. So yeah, that's that. But let's say you want to have a whole bunch of vertices really close together. Well, if you were stupid, you could just do this. And, stack a couple or 3 of them on top of each other, depending on how many things you have connected together. Like, you know, if I was going to do a set of vertices for each of these 5 sectors right here, which for some reason I'm failing to highlight, there we go, I would end up with 5 vertices right here, and that's dumb. So we're not going to do that. What we're going to do instead is we're going to copy one over, and then we're going to put one in every single spot here. Every single little place where we care about having a vertex. Man, I'm really getting that messed up. So let's see, those are 20. So let's do, we can actually just select all of these and do, first we want to cancel out the height. And then we can do tag +++1. And that should give us 21 through 28, looks like. So now, we're going to select one line def from every single sector here. Let's see, I also want to get that and that. We're going to set that to slope front side floor by 3 tagged vertex things. And here we're gonna use tag and offsets, which is to say that we can actually specify which vertices we want to use in the tag and X and Y offsets of the side def of this. So let's see. So over here we have 21, 22, 28. We'll go ahead and set that to 21, 22, and 28. We'll ignore the rest of these for now. I just want to make sure that this works. So which one of these is 28? That one? So there we go. We want to do this. Yeah, okay. It looks like it's working properly. In fact, let's just take that up to 160, and then we can have this one at like 64. And then that'll all just kind of update as we go, and we can look at it in a minute. So yeah, give me a minute and I'll go apply that to the entire thing. I'll show you one more time just to be absolutely sure you got it. So we got 22, 23, 28 over here. So I'm going to go 22, 23, and 28. Make sense? Okay, I'm going to do the rest of them now. And we're done. And remember that it doesn't matter which order you put these in. You can just, as long as you use all 3 of these, it's fine. So if we look in our map, there we go. Everything looks proper. Then we could take the height up of that. We can even mess around with sector heights to some extent. Maybe not. I guess not. But yeah, we have a cute little hill now here. So that's pretty cool. We can take it up like this. And like this. And, you know, we can apply textures there if we want. I should mention, it doesn't matter where exactly the slope line is. So if we wanted to, we could just zero all this out. Just get rid of all this. And then instead we could have it inside the sector. So let's see, we want to do... What was that effect? 704. We put in our 704, grab our things, which is 28, 21, 22. Not 27, 21. And then we can... Oh, right, of course, I didn't use tag and offsets. Duh. But yeah, now we can do that, and then we can do whatever textures we want here. We actually want backside lower here, I think. Yep. And we can peg our grass and do all that kind of thing like we usually do without having to take up texture offsets. Make sense? I hope so. Let me put all this down because I don't really want to go through and do all that right now. Okay, so next I think we're going to look at sloped floor over floors. So I'm gonna do this a little more clearly than I did last time. This is my second take of the video for those of you watching in the future. I already put this video up, and I'm trying to redo it to make it better with more information, because this needs to be the slope masterclass. I don't want to ever have to talk about this again, you know? Anyway, so basically what you need to do is you need to make your FOF. We're going to use this as our FOF sector. And you need to make sure that your control sector perfectly aligns with your FOF. This is the simple way to do it. It's not the best way to do it. You don't get to use, well, it's better if you use vertex slopes, because it just makes the entire thing easier. But if you're just doing something simple, then this will work just fine. It's just really important that you have these two things aligned properly. You can align them like that, and then you can rotate it, and put that wherever you want, wherever will actually work in this map. Like that would work. It just has to be the exact same angle. We're just gonna leave it straight like this for now, and we're gonna go ahead. I'm gonna do, what is it? Slope, front side, flooring, and ceiling, which is line def 702. Let's go ahead. Right, this is gonna need a tag, so let's just give that tag 10, I guess. We're gonna need line def action 100, tag 10. I think, yeah. So let's figure out, let's see, our floor here is negative 128, so let's just do, I don't know, 128 and 256, because that's easy. Set our floors. Some people were asking why they couldn't set GFZ floor 01 to be on a line def. In version 2.2.0 of SRB2, you can't use flats as textures, but you can use textures as flats. So you can use all this stuff on your floors and ceilings, but you can only use the two textures ones for your walls. If it's a future version of SRB2, you can probably just use everything on walls. Test for yourself. I don't know if we're doing that in 2.2.1 or if we're going to do that later. I haven't really kept up with it, but just check and make sure you know it works. Because if you go to all here, because you'll notice that both GFZ Rock and GFZ Floor 01, not only are they identical, but because GFZ Floor is the flat version, whereas GFZ Rock is the texture version. Does that make any sense? Let's see. Right, so I was making this FOF. Let's look at it. Oh, right, I've kind of already done this. Because this is set to 256 and 128, and this is just the same floor and ceiling as this. So let's just do 256, 128, and then go back and just use height offset to up it by 64. And now we have our adorable sloped FOF. So from here, we can use height offset to change the slope more, or we can, change just the floor height or just the ceiling height, and give it any kind of slope we want. So you can see our FOF is sloped, but the sides aren't necessarily sloped. So if we right-click on our control line def, well, I mean, you can click on this specifically, or you can just click any side def on the FOF. And if we hit slope skew sides, which is effect 3, in this case, we'll control F9 in there. And there you go. It's sloped. And we can also check out our other slopes here. You can slope skew everything using the other effects. They're right there. You know how to do it. I already showed you how to do that. But yeah, that works. So there's one way to make a sloped FOF, and again, very, very, very important. These have to be lined up, exactly correctly. And then you can just, after that, you can select them, press E to edit, and then you can just drag it wherever you want. And that should still look perfectly fine. Yeah, that's our exact same FOF, it's just rotated. Which is wonderful. Okay, so we'll put that back for now. So, what if we want to use a vertex slope on an FOF? Well, that's actually super easy. So we're going to go ahead and make another control sector. It's going to have action 100, and it's going to have tag 11. I actually forgot to make the other one darker, so we'll go ahead and do that now. There we go. So those are both 192 now. Go ahead and set that so it has the tag that we're working on right now. We actually don't have to worry too much about the floor and ceiling heights here, but I'm going to change them anyway just for fun. Our GFC floor and our GFC floor. Okay, so we have our FOF there, but there's no slope yet. So, it's basically the same concept as we did over here. We're just doing, we can do either the 3 vertices of the same angle, or rather of the same tag, or we can do it the way we did over here. So for fun, let's do it both ways by setting the floor one to have all the same tags and the ceiling to have all different tags. So I'm just going to drag one of these over here and copy it a few times. Yeah, sure, why not? So then let's just give those tag 30. That can be our floor. And then these can be tag 30, and then we're going to go back and plus, plus, plus 1, and that should just give us 31, 33, and 32. Okay. So, let's see, where do we want our floor to be? Let's put that height as, I guess it doesn't really matter right now. I'll just put in some values. 128, 192, and 160. And then start at 256 for these. And again, this is Z height of the slope objects in relation to the floor here. So if we go in, like this one's 128, but actually it's 0. It just happens to be 128 units above the ground here. Very important to understand that. So let's see. Okay, so those are all right. Where is our ceiling again? Or ceiling is at 256. So let's see. One of those we could just leave alone, and then they can just do oh, okay. They're not at 256. Well, let's fix that. Okay, you're all at 256 now. And then one of you can be like 320, and one of you could be at like 224. Sure, why not? Right? That should work, right? 160, 190. Yeah, okay, so that should all work. So we have our vertices set up, but we're not sloping. But we will slope. We're going to slope now. So we're going to do 704, which is slope front side floor by 3 tag vertex things. We're going to give that 30, because that's our floor vertices. We're going to take this other one and do 705. And use tag and offsets, which is going to be 31, 32, and 33. Which means we should be sloping now. Cool, right? And as usual, we can slope skew sides. And that should look perfectly fine in game, so let's go look at it. Yep, there it is. We can walk around on it, we can walk under it, we can probably, well, there's no probably about it, we can climb on it with Knuckles. Good old Bluckles. Yeah, and these work just fine. So, let's see, what else was I gonna do? So let's say you want your slope to move up and down. Let's do that over here. So I've got a little thing over here. Let's go ahead and increase this floor to 128. And then we're going to set this vertex line def rather to 700. Now, if we go in right now, obviously it won't do anything. But we'll leave it there for a second. Because what I want to do is, remember when we made this platform earlier, which you can check out in an earlier video, which I will have a card for up in the right-hand side of the screen. It looks a little different now because I made it prettier. Don't worry about that. What we're going to do is we're basically just going to redo our continuous floor mover. I'm going to go ahead and just copy and paste these because you should already know how to do this. Oh, no, not over there. I want that to be here. Okay, so we're going to tag this to this sector. So give that a new tag. We're going to give this an unused tag, or rather our tag 14. Right, usually you can get away with just doing new tag and unused tag. I don't. I like to just type it in because it's more reliable. Because sometimes you'll do something that requires a line def tag but no sector tag, or you'll have something that has a sector tag but no line def tag. It's easier to just type it. But new is very useful. Right, so what's this at right now? Okay, so we can put one of these at 0. We can put one of these at 128. And I guess I should probably edit both the floor and the ceiling there, because otherwise it's going to yell at me for having a ceiling below my floor height. Okay, so if we go and look at this right now, what's going to happen is that small rectangular sector should move around. Okay, that's not what I expected. Did I check the dynamic flag then? Okay, I don't know why, but this was already checked to dynamic. You have to check this to dynamic. Your slopes will not move if you don't have that checked. So if I uncheck it and go back in, it should do the thing that I thought it was going to do last time, right? Yeah, where only part of it moves, but not the slope itself. And that looks terrible. So let me put that back. You can tell I'm working from a copy of when I redid this video, when I did this video at first, so that's okay though. And it's basically the same thing for moving FOF slopes around. Like if we want to, we can apply the exact same thing to this. We can just, what's this at? 192 and 320. So if we do 192 and 320, and I probably should have selected both of them at the same time, but too late now. Then do our height offset to, what was it, 128. And then we make this dynamic. And we make sure that this is tagged to this particular control sector. If we go in now, we should see that our sector tagged 10 over there has an FOF in it that moves around. Okay, well I haven't quite done that. Oh right, because they're both floor. Excuse me. It's a floor mover. We actually want a continuous floor and ceiling mover, which is action 53. So if we go back in again, we will see that it actually works the way I thought it was going to the first time. I never claimed these tutorials were perfect. I just claimed that they're informative. They're not big budget. They're just helpful. Okay, so that's how you can do that. So last time, I believe this is about where I signed off, but I learned about an entirely new thing that I didn't know SRB2 had. So you might be thinking, well, how can I make vertex slopes move? Can I do that at all? Turns out, yes, you can. Earlier I claimed that you could not, but that was because I did not know that. But now I know that, and now I'm going to show you how to do it. So I'm not going to do it on an FOF because that's going to take too long. But what we're going to do is, I'm not worried about that. Well, actually, yeah, we are a little bit. Right, actually, let me just take this up a little bit like this. And put some nice, pretty grass on it, because I want it to look nice. Yeah, pigment texture. Yeah, okay. So, earlier, like we did with this line, we can do the exact same thing here. I'm just going to plop that in there. Let's see, and that's going to be action 704. And I guess we'll use 40, 41, and 42. So now I'm going to go ahead and put those in. You guys are all going to be, well, 39. And we're going to go back in and do plus, plus, plus 1, which should give us, no, not 0, 0. There we go. Which should give us 40, 41, 42, which it has, which is great. So, oh yeah, I didn't check use tag and offsets. Hey, look at me screwing up all the time. Okay, well there we go. So we're gonna go back and check this as dynamic. And then what we're gonna do, we're gonna actually just, it doesn't actually matter where these are set, so I'm just gonna leave them at 128. Because what they're gonna do is they're gonna instantly go to the height that we specify. Now how are we gonna do that exactly? We're actually going to need to make 6 more control sectors. I know that's a lot of control sectors. Bear with me. I swear it will all be worth it in the end. We're going to copy and paste these again because I don't really feel like drawing all those. And slap you there, and slap you over there. Now, we're going to set these, all 3 of them, to action 799, which is set tagged dynamic slope vertex to front sector height. There are no effects here that matter, I think, so we just have to make sure that it's tagged as it should be. And then we can, oh right, another handy thing. If I wanted to, I could go in and adjust all these individually, but instead I'm going to use this button, which is tag range, and I'm going to do start tag 40, increment by 1, which will make it end tag 42. It'll yell at you because, well, it'll yell at me rather, because I'm already using tag 40, but that's okay, I want it to do that. You can do it relative to existing tags, you can skip over already unused tags. I'm going to just leave it like this, because that's going to give me 40, 41, 42, which corresponds, of course, to our 40, our 41, our 42 vertices. So let's see, these line defs are going to need, right, we can actually just skip over those. Yeah, okay, so now you're 43, 44, 45. We do 43, 44, 45, which means these should all be tagged correctly. Okay, so, what's this at? Okay, we can do, we're gonna do 0 and 0 for that, and then like 64 and 64. In fact, we're gonna do 64 and 64 for that, and then we're gonna do 128, 128 and 128 for that, and just do that. And that'll give us not 192, I think. Yep. Okay. So, right, these are all continuous floor movers because I copied them. So we need those to be continuous floor ceiling movers. I think, I'm not sure if it matters actually, but I'm going to do that. And, okay, so then we're going to also want to do this so that it starts exactly where we want, which is we're setting these control sectors that directly control our vertices to have the same floor and ceiling height as where these start out. That's 128, which I am failing to type today for some reason. And I believe that's all you have to do. Don't take my word for it. Let's look in game and see if it works. Bam. We're in game. And it looks like it is in fact working. Although I haven't done anything interesting, so it looks like the sector's just kind of going up and down. So to fix that, let's do something more interesting, where this is, I don't know, 64 and 64, and we could probably leave that alone, right? No, we'll make this one taller. 192, and 64, and 64. I probably could have just flipped that line def around, but it's too late now. I'm making triple sure that this works the way I think it does, because I messed it up earlier when I was testing. Yeah, there you go. There's your dynamic slopification. And this is working a little weird, and I'm not sure why. But the point is, it works. I don't know why that one's doing it so sharply. Because the rest of these are pretty smooth. Very smooth. But yeah. Dynamic slope vertices. You can do them. I think that's about it. Oh, no. I forgot. There's one more thing. There's one more very important thing. I completely forgot to cover copy slopes. I'm just going to leave all that there. We'll just copy a slope onto this sector, because we can. So, remember back in the beginning, when we made this little thing right here? We're going to copy that slope over here. So we're going to do... You can pick any of these lines. Let's see... 700, which one is it? I don't really feel like going through the dialogue. Copy frontside floor slope from line tag. What line is that? Tag 20. It either works this way or it works a different way. So if I go in, this is the same tag as the line def over there. Okay, so you don't actually want to do that. What you want to do is give the sloped sector a tag, and then apply that tag to this line def here. So we're actually just going to give this an entirely new tag. I guess 16 hasn't been used yet. And we'll apply that here. Go back in. And now we have slopage. And that, of course, works on floors and ceilings. You can see the rest of the possibilities there in the line def action dialog box. If we really wanted to, we could, you know, copy this dynamic slope too as well, but I think that's just going to look a little bit ridiculous over there. So we're not going to bother. You guys should understand by now how all this works. If you have any questions, as usual, I will be answering comments for the short amount of time after the video is uploaded. Yeah, I think that's about all I want to cover today. Related links are going to be in the description for you to read in case you forget all this stuff or need a quick reference. I have checked, and everything in those articles is up to date as of 2.2, which is fantastic. But yeah, I believe that's pretty much all I have for you today. So please give me a like if you like this tutorial, and if you did like this tutorial, maybe subscribe to me too if you want to see some more tutorials. And yeah, I think that's about it. Now go out and make some cool slopes and cool levels, and I'll see you in part 7, where I'm gonna take care of poly objects. Ooh. All right, bye guys.